Hey, it's Irina Pozan, and welcome back to the Career Cravings Podcast. This podcast has a simple mission. It's to help ambitious professionals like you build the career and life that you've been craving. Over the past 15 years, I've worked as an HR leader, designed hiring systems, led recruitment teams, and I've sat on the other side of the hiring table. I've seen what works in today's job market, what doesn't, and what separates those good candidates from the ones that actually land their dream roles. Now I'm bringing everything I've learned straight to you. Each episode is packed with actionable insights and tools to help you land your dream role sooner. Now let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back. Before we even dive into today's episode, I just want to say last week's Masterclass, if you were not there, it was amazing. The chat was on fire. There were incredible questions. The community was so supportive. And I have been getting so many DMs from you guys saying that it has completely transformed the way that you job search, which is exactly the intent. So inside, I broke down resume tips, interview tips, everything that is working in today's job market. And just in case you were not able to make it there live, I got you. I have the replay link in the show notes so you can swipe up so that you don't miss a beat. But also at the 60-minute mark, I dropped some big news that bonus enrollment for my signature program, HR Star, is officially open. And this happens twice a year. So if you're serious about finally getting support and working together super closely to help you land your next dream HR role, there is literally no better time to join. So when you join this week, you get over $3,000 in bonuses, including a one-on-one session with me, guaranteed support until you land your dream role, which means I literally will support you if it takes 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. You know, the interesting thing is when I first launched this program, it was a 3-month program and I would support people for that length of time. But then what I saw was that my clients were landing roles within 3 weeks to 3 months, nearly every single time, literally 98% of the time. So with that, I'm like, you know what? I want to make it no risk. And literally you will get my support every single step of the way with your resume, your interviews, your brand, all the things we talk about here on today's podcast until you land your dream HR role. So if that is you, you can swipe up. Bonus enrollment is open for the next couple of days, and I would love to support you in your search. This program is also where you've heard all of those incredible testimonials about that I've been telling you about over the last couple of months. So you know it works. Now it's your turn. I cannot wait to support you. So if this sounds aligned and the right next step for you, amazing. Swipe up and the link to HR Star's bonus enrollment is also included in the show notes. All right, now let's dive in. Welcome back to the Career Cravings Podcast. It is I, Irina, and I'm going to be walking you through the third biggest mistake that I see job seekers make in their job search that keeps them stuck. And let me tell you, this one hits home for me because this is something that I've personally done myself in my job search earlier in my career, and it is the feeling of this needy energy. So the third biggest mistake that I see people make is coming into their job search with a needy energy. That needy energy is actually the pressure that we put on ourselves for needing to find a job as soon as possible. It's us trying to micromanage every single detail in the job search process. When someone replies, obsessing over how the interview went, playing things back in your head, and constantly obsessing with how many interviews you're landing, if anyone's responding, the ATS systems. And if this sounds like you right now, you're not alone. This might be the thing that is actually keeping you stuck. Today, we're going to break down what needy energy looks like and how it might actually be working against you in your search. And most importantly, we're going to talk about how to actually shift into magnetic energy. So this is that kind of energy that has you hired and actually attracts the results that you're looking for in your job search. And most importantly, I'm going to share 5 tips on how you can shift into that magnetic energy, which is that energy that gets you hired faster because you are more confident, you are more magnetic. Hiring managers and recruiters want to speak to you. They love speaking to you. And this is what helps you get hired faster. So let's dive in. If you've been listening to some of the other podcast episodes, you might know I have a routine around filming all of these. And it involves going to Pilates first thing in the morning, having a really intentional workout. But in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking about the podcast and what I'm going to talk about that day. And today, this feeling of like magnetic energy was coming through. And I just kept thinking about my clients that get incredible results. Like, what is it with them that shifts, that ends up landing their roles like 4 to 8 times faster than the regular job market? And it is truly having that confident, magnetic energy. And this is something that's built. It's not something that you just have going into your search. So I want to break down how you can shift if you feel like maybe your confidence is a little bit shaky, or you might be showing up with this needy energy, how to shift that. Okay. First, let's talk about what that needy energy even looks like. So this is one, you put timelines and pressure on yourself to land a role as soon as possible. And this is typically very legitimate. You might think, okay, well, I need to start earning more money, or maybe you're between jobs, you're not working right now, or maybe you have a toxic boss, or you hate the company that you're in. Maybe you hate what you're doing. Maybe you're not in the career you want to be in yet. And then you start putting this overwhelming pressure on yourself to find a role as soon as possible. And once that happens, often this needy energy shows up. So let's talk about how this can be holding you back. First of all, I'll start with saying that I've been there. I have personally showed up as a needy candidate, and I have been in bed replaying different conversations in my mind. I've also been someone who was like, you know what, this is it. I need to leave immediately, and been very reactive in my search and feeling like I needed to find a role as soon as possible. In the past, I've also gotten a new boss one day and I was like, oh my goodness, okay, this is it. I need to leave this place. And then had more of that pressure-filled needy energy around needing to get a very specific result in a very short amount of time. And the way this needy energy translated for me is like in my job search, freshing my emails on my phone, like every 5 minutes. Did I get that interview? Did I get that interview? Where's that job offer? It didn't come in yet. And like trying to micromanage the whole thing, following up too soon. And this energy, it really doesn't help the job search. And the truth is that coming in with that type of pressure on yourself, it just feels terrible. And it works against you, because when you feel terrible, then people that you speak to also feel terrible around you. And it overwhelms your nervous system as well. It drains your energy. You don't feel good because you're always like, you have something that you're replaying in the back of your mind. There's always this pressure. It's like this cloud over you in those situations. And the worst part is that you end up showing up as a lesser version of you. You can't show up as your best version when you have so much pressure weighing on you. You cannot possibly show up as your most confident self when you are stressed out by your job search. And you know what? Hiring managers, they can sense desperation, and it's not attractive. So I've got another dating analogy, and I don't know why I always use dating analogies with my clients, because I haven't dated anyone in 15 years. I've been married for 11 and a half years, but these always come to mind when I'm thinking about desperation, because this comes up in dating a lot as well as interviewing. So I want to break this down. Say you're sitting down on a first date, you're speaking to someone, you are interested in them, but then all of a sudden, you're seeing that they're saying things like, I really need to make this work. You know, please pick me. Please pick me. I promise I am the best. And they're putting so much pressure on this situation. Maybe they're texting you too much. And all of a sudden, how does that make you feel? But then you see they are just going like 0 to 100 really quick. They're all of a sudden bringing in this desperate energy where, you know, they're not saying it specifically, but you can feel the way that they're acting is very much like, pick me, I'm great for you. And how does that feel? It probably feels like, ooh, this person has not very many options. right? Or maybe it feels overwhelming. When a person's energy screams desperation, it actually will make you second guess whether or not you thought they were a good fit for you. And that is exactly what happens in an interview. Recruiters and hiring managers, they speak to many candidates and they can feel the difference of someone who's confident and someone who is like holding on too tightly, who is a little bit too desperate for the opportunity. Now, imagine you're on a date with someone who has the energy of like, hey, we're having a really nice time. I'd love to find the right person. Let's just see if we're a good fit and let's continue to chat and see if it's a good fit. Now, say you're on that same date. And instead, the person is just exploring whether or not the two of you have a great fit. You're seeing if you have things in common. The conversation seems effortless. You're both kind of texting each other back with a rhythm that makes sense, that you're both enjoying. You can't wait for the person to reach out to you. There's a huge difference between this energy. It's confident and it's also focused on like, what you both want out of that situation. And that's exactly the way I like to look at the hiring process as well. By the way, I'd love to know if you feel like you're falling into this needy energy category. And if so, this is something that I want to spend the rest of this episode shifting. Again, the needy energy can be like this underlining anxious or frantic vibe. It might not actually be something that you say, but it's like a response time. It could be very little things, how quickly you're scheduling the interviews and some of the choice words that you make, some of the questions that you ask at the end of the interview. On the back end, something that people can't see is like I was, like refreshing your email every 5 minutes to see if you're invited to the next stage, or like completely freaking out if you don't hear back by the end of the day when they said that they would reach out to you. Or trying to play everything back in your mind in terms of how things went. Did they like me? Did they not? Did I say the right thing? And these are things that you could be doing behind the scenes that is putting more pressure and stress on you where it's like not even needed and it's completely not helpful. So feeling like everything, your whole world depends on this one opportunity. If you even have this thought in your head, it's very likely that this is translating into your tone, what you say, how quickly you respond, the questions you ask at the end. And it could all be coming through as this low-key anxious vibe that is completely unattractive in the hiring process. And this might be the thing that stops you from moving forward. It actually might not be what you say. If this sounds familiar to you, this kind of energy creates a cycle of stress and exhaustion. So you might be prioritizing your search over making yourself feel good. Maybe you're not sleeping well because the stress is like really weighing on you. And I've been there. Or maybe to the interview, you're putting so much pressure on yourself that you're not able to show up as your magnetic self. This also looks like you're trying to control things that you can't, which is exhausting. When we try to control something so tightly and we can't, it's exhausting. So having personally been in that type of situation before, and then going through my last job search where I landed my director role so effortlessly and simply, and I had realized that like this holding tight, trying to control energy was working completely against me in the other opportunities that I had. And my clients that land roles the fastest, they have many options and they're completely not stressed. So actually, I was talking to a client recently who got multiple offers to Kunda. And after she got her first offer, she went into the second set of interviews with other companies completely unfazed. She's like, whatever, like I have a job. And the worst case is that you don't give me an offer. Okay, I'm totally fine. I have another offer that I'm excited about. And then this energy got her more confident. And then this energy also attracted multiple job offers where she could go and actually pick the company she wants to work for. And the second company felt that. They have felt that, all stress has been relieved from the situation. And whether it works, whether it doesn't, they're just both exploring the opportunity and seeing where it goes. No pressure attached to the situation. Now, this is easier said than done, right? You're like, okay, Irina, I want to be magnetic. I don't want anyone to feel this negative or needy energy around me. How do I actually do that? Let's break that down. The opposite of being needy is magnetic. right? Magnetic energy is rooted in trust. It's calm. It's confident. Magnetic energy says, I know my worth and I'm excited to share it with you. In the back of your mind, it also says, if this isn't the right opportunity for me, I know that the right one's coming. Magnetic energy also shows up like, I'm going to apply without forcing anything to happen. And there's a very subtle difference here. It's the difference of saying, I need this job to validate me, or saying, I'd love to work here, but I know I'll have a great career no matter what. See the difference? So I need this job to validate me. I need this job. Otherwise, I'm going to feel like shit. Otherwise, I'm going to feel like I've been rejected again. Otherwise, I'm going to have to tell my friends and family it didn't work out again. Or it's like, hey, I'd love this opportunity. It sounds really exciting to me, but I know no matter what, I cannot control this process. And no matter what, I'm going to find the role that's right for me. And that's the magnetic energy that'll get you hired, because it feels better to you. But then also other people externally are like drawn to this confident, calm, self-assured energy. And this energy is what has hiring managers, recruiters say, I don't just want this person on my team. I need them. And it shifts that power dynamic. So I'll tell you my own job search. When I think back to when I did have this needy energy, and I remember I was like interviewing at this hospital and it was this panel interview and I brought in all this extra work and I had gone like above and beyond. And I could feel like when they asked if I had experience in a certain area that I didn't really have, like working in healthcare before, I remember this convincing energy would come out like, but I can learn, but I could do this. And like, I was just really trying to control the situation. And I know looking back now, that's what led to them asking like, hey, why do you want to work here? Or why should we hire you? And those type of questions. But when I was interviewing with no strings attached, because I really wasn't sure I was interested in a certain role, I remember instead being asked questions like, if we gave you an offer right now, how quickly can you accept it? So the power dynamic had switched. And instead, the hiring manager is now asking me like, how quickly can you come on board? How quickly will you accept this offer? And that is a very different place to be. And it feels so much better. And that is the energy I want you to bring to your interviews, because that's what's going to get you hired. Okay, so let's talk about like how to actually do that, how to shift your energy. If you're sitting here and you're like, yes, okay, I think some of these needy thoughts are coming through. I think that I maybe am coming across as desperate. And maybe it's things that you're actually just thinking to yourself. Maybe no one else can notice it yet because maybe you didn't have an interview for some time, but maybe you're starting to feel yourself getting a little bit more desperate because your search isn't working out the way you thought. Maybe you thought you'd be hired by now, and this needy energy is starting to come through. I want to nip it in the butt like immediately. So let's talk about how to actually do that. Okay. So we're going to go through 5 tips to shift your energy from this needy energy to that magnetic energy. Okay. First tip, zoom out. Zoom out. So what does that mean? So instead of thinking about, let's say this one opportunity, you applied and you're like, please, please pick me. Please call me back. I hope this works out. I hope they hire me. I want to go to that interview. I hope it's scheduled on the Monday, not the Friday, so that I could do this. Stop obsessing over one narrow opportunity just for the next 24 hours. And let's see how that works. Instead, I want you to replace this narrow view of this one opportunity that you need right now with your 3-year vision of your career. So zoom out and think about the next 3 years. Focus on the big picture, because it's so much easier to let go of those like short-term frustrations when you know the bigger picture is going to work out. So let's just say in the next 3 years, you know you want to be promoted, you want to be in a higher level leadership role. Amazing. Keep that in mind. Don't think about this one specific opportunity. And when you think of the bigger vision, it helps relieve pressure from this one immediate response, one immediate interview to, you know what, I know that in the next 3 years, I'm going to be in this type of role. And let's see how this goes. Okay. Number 2 is all about releasing pressure. So I want you to ask yourself, what unnecessary pressure am I putting on myself right now? This is your homework. Take 5 minutes to journal on this. or to vent. Maybe it's to cry, but I want you to release the pressure and let it go. I want you to be aware of where you're putting pressure on yourself. And it might be legitimate, but I want you to be aware of where that's coming from, because this is going to translate into your words, your actions, and the steps that you take out of being desperate. This pressure is what's keeping you stuck because it drains your energy. Okay. So where are you putting unnecessary pressure on yourself? And I want you to release that pressure. So for example, I need to find a job because, and insert the reason: terrible company, toxic boss, need more money. Maybe it's to feel validated that you actually are ready for that next role that you've been dreaming of. Maybe it's to feel validated that the MBA or the degree you recently got is being put to use. Identify where the pressure is and release it. Okay, so number 3, in releasing that needy energy and really focusing on that magnetic energy, is focus on alignment. So a lot of people, when they get into this pattern of this desperate energy, they will actually forget what they wanted in the first place and they put it aside. They're like, you know what? I did want to make K, but I'm going to settle for 80 right now because the job market sucks. Or, you know what? Yeah, I did want to work for a great firm, a large company, but I'm just going to take the small mom and pop shop that has, issues with their finances. What I want you to do is get clear on what you really want, because then you're going to stop focusing on the things that aren't right. So ask yourself, this is your homework. Ask yourself, does the role align with my long-term vision? Because when you're so focused on what you want in the future and you know exactly what you want, you're going to become a magnet for those specific opportunities instead of settling for whatever comes along. I know I've had clients before that wanted to work with like these amazing organizations that have a really great impact on society, that they're making a difference, that they're excited about the product or services they provide. But then in the end, they're like, you know what? I accepted this job because I just really need to start working now. And when you do that, you are showing up as like ready to accept any opportunity instead of the ones that are truly the ones that light you up and are a fit for you. Fourth, I want you to actually build your confidence up daily, because when you're confident, you're not going to show up as needy. So I want you to start every morning with some affirmations. So especially when you're battling some negative thoughts, I want you to tell yourself these things. I am qualified and capable for the job I want. I bring value to every role that I consider. I trust that the right role is out there for me and it's on its way to me. So instead, I want you to reframe any negative thoughts that you have with knowing your own worth and how amazing you would be as a candidate for those roles. Going into tip number 5 for having magnetic energy as you're going into your job search, I want you to really prioritize you. I want you to prioritize you over your job search. I want you to make sure that you are taking care of yourself first, so you're not pouring from an empty cup. And this is something that really came to me today in Pilates too, where as I'm there and I'm feeling better, I'm thinking like, this is it. Like, I hope that all of my clients are doing this as well. I hope that you are prioritizing rest and movement and boundaries and taking breaks when you need them from your applications and stepping outside and doing things that you love that recharge you. So guess what? When you feel good, you actually can show up to the interviews with the energy that attracts people, right? So you ever notice how when you're in a bad mood, like everything goes wrong, you like stub your toe, you're swearing all of a sudden, like everything is going wrong. You're sitting in traffic, this guy cuts you off. And that is what happens when we're not in our best, most aligned self. And the way you can get there is by not being burnt out. So I want you to feel good, because guess what? You're going to hop on that Zoom or you're going to head into that interview and people are going to sense like, wow, this is someone who's genuinely happy. And people want to be around people like that. People want to be around happy, positive people that feel their best. That's magnetic. That attracts us in. It makes you think, okay, this person's going to be someone who gets hired fast. I need to move them through quickly through the process, right? So I want you to really prioritize yourself and your self-care. Here's your homework for this one. I want you to think about what would make you feel good in your search. And right now, if you're feeling amazing, you're energized, you're excited about your search, go all in. take all the time, apply all day, all night, whatever makes you feel good. But as soon as you start to feel drained or tired, I want you to assess that and ask yourself, like, am I doing my best? Am I showing up as my best self to that phone screen? How did I pick up the phone? What was my tone like, right? Did I get that sunshine? Was it flooding in? How did I feel? And sometimes I've had certain clients that were practicing for their interviews and they sound so confident to me. And then I'm like, okay, how do you feel? And they're like, okay, I hope I can show up just like this in that interview. I'm like, okay, well, I know you're ready because we just covered every possible question you might be asked and you're answering it really well. Here's the thing. Before you head into that interview, especially if it's like a virtual interview, what I want you to do is like put on your favorite song that makes you feel so powerful, so lit up, so excited, and dance, sing, feel good, like get yourself in this energy because that is going to show up so much better for the top of that interview, right? When you're making small talk and someone asks like, how are you? They're going to feel the energy between like, I'm good and like you feeling tired and exhausted and stressed. And they're going to feel the difference between you genuinely saying like, it's such a beautiful day outside. I feel amazing. I'm so excited to connect with you on this opportunity. People can feel the difference when your energy is off. Get yourself into the best energy state you possibly can for your job search. This is going to take the pressure off. It's going to get you to feel good and it will transform the way you search. Plus, it will actually make your job search more enjoyable when you're enjoying the process along the way instead of waiting for that end result. So here's another reflection prompt for you. If you're walking, I want you to think about this. Maybe you open the notes on your phone and put this in. What is one small thing that you can do today to shift into a more magnetic energy out of the 5 tips that I just shared? All right, let's kind of recap. First, I want you to zoom out and see the 3-year vision for your career. I want you to release the pressure wherever you may be feeling unnecessary pressure put on yourself. I want you to focus on alignment and have a clear picture for the type of role that you want. And then I want you to build confidence daily through the affirmations that I shared with you. I want you to prioritize you over your job search. I want you to prioritize your self-care over your job search when you need to. And I want you to be aware of how you feel in the process. Because remember, you cannot hate your current situation into a better one. Here's what I want you to take away from today's episode. That pressure, the desperation, micromanaging, refreshing, that doesn't work. It doesn't help you to show up calm, confident, or magnetic. But when you do, it changes everything. If you needed to hear this, I want to hear from you. Leave me a comment wherever you're listening to this or DM me on Instagram. And I want to hear from you. I want to hear about what resonated with you, what the one shift will be, or maybe you're making all 5 that you heard about in this episode to get yourself feeling more magnetic in your search. Let me know. Also, you can tag me on Instagram in your stories. I promise to reshare it. I love hearing from you. And also, you might have someone in your life who needs to hear this message. Maybe they're putting too much pressure on themselves in their search as well, and you can sense their energy shifting. So I want you to share it with them. I also want you to know that your dream job is on the way to you. I know that you are taking all of the steps possible because you are here listening to this today. So I want you to trust the process. I want you to take care of yourself. I want you to show up as your most magnetic self. And I cannot wait to see you in next week's episode where we talk about the 4th shift. See you there. Hey, before you go, if you've enjoyed listening to today's show, I would love your support. Please take a moment to leave a review anywhere where you listen to podcasts. And here's the exciting part. I'm running a special contest and giving away a one-on-one session with yours truly. All you have to do is leave a review, take a screenshot, and send it to me in my DMs. All of my contact info is in the show notes. I appreciate you so much, and I cannot wait to build the career and life that you've been craving together. See you next week.